Here's the big question.
How are agents like us,
who didn't get an opportunity to invest in a franchise early,
who are spending time and money to sell homes,
building someone else's saleable asset?
How do we grow a business but still build wealth?
Have an exit strategy,
and get a piece of the pie that's not dependent
on us working more hours and every weekend?
That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer.
My name is Jay Kinder.
My name is Al Stasek.
And I'm Michael Reese. We are your hosts, and welcome to the One Big Fire podcast.
All right, welcome to the One Big Fire. How's it going? We have an announcement today. David Edwards, I'm happy to be here and honored to be in business with you and make an announcement that you join us at eXp Realty and covering the Pensacola to Destin, right?
Yep.
So
yep,
obviously,
the Panhandle of Florida.
You can tell by your shirt you live in paradise. So I'm already jealous. But yeah, no, it's and you have a great story of getting back into real estate and looking for at all the options and having been in the industry for a long time. So what was kind of take us through the process? What happened? What made you decide to get back into real estate? What did you look at and evaluate, and how did you end up with us here at eXp?
Sure. So I go way back in real estate. I mean, I actually got my first license back in 1985. Wow. I know I don't look that old, but. And at the time I looked like I was about 12 years old, right? And I was at RE/MAX, one of the first RE/MAX offices on the western slope of Colorado. And then I ended up getting into the appraisal side of the business for about 9 years, very successful at that. Left the business when we had some downturn in the market, went into technology, the early internet stuff. Got back in after the .com blow up in 2000. Back with RE/MAX again, was a top performing agent. That's where I met you through Proctor Coaching in the regular coaching program, then the Platinum program, and and then we all know what happened in 2008, 2009, and I jumped back into tech, and I kind of felt like I'm just there's too many things about real estate. I was in the Sacramento market area. It's up and down. Brent Gove, who most of you know that name, Brent was in my RE/MAX office at the time. And I just decided to get out of the business. And when I settled down here in Florida, kind of as a final place, hopefully destination for this last stretch of my career and retirement, I realized how much I missed the business, and I saw what was happening with technology shift, with some of the things that KW was doing. I talked to Brent early on, but there wasn't much of a representation here in the area. And but then once I dug into eXp and I really saw the technology, the virtual platform that we could grow on. And then once frankly, I took the time out of my busy schedule. And I think that's the thing for all of us. Mm-hmm. We're all busy running our businesses. And it's like, yeah, I'll look at that someday. So I ended up joining a different brokerage for about 6 months. And then one of the guys I was coaching with, Gary Wilson, said, hey, he was going to be moving over to eXp. You should really take another look at it. At that point in time, I dug in and looked at really the nuts and bolts and the technology platform that works, the virtual platform. But really, it's about the people to me, right? I come to find out, people like yourself and Mike and Andre and Brent, and it's kind of like a who's who of major producers in the industry that have come on board. And you got to kind of stop and ask yourself for a second, like, why? Why are people leaving what's working for them and shifting over to eXp? And I think it's because we're at that time in history, and this is pre-COVID, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, COVID hits, and it's like we are so well positioned right now. We're not trying to figure out how to run an office meeting on Zoom, which we've never done before.
Right.
We have our own platform, in the cloud with the eXp World.
Right.
When I found, to me, one of the most frustrating things of working with another brokerage, any brokerage that I've been involved with, is getting an answer to a question in a timely manner.
Right.
I've never, honestly, God's truth, I've never waited more than 5 minutes to get an answer to anything, from accounting to tech support to a broker question, by going into eXp World. And it's just mind blowing that with what we're just 32, approaching 33,000 agents at this point, that we can have that kind of access to leadership.
Right.
The stuff that you guys are doing with One Big Fire and with the Honey Badgers group on Facebook, the Expert Mentors Live. I mean, every time I get in the car, I just pull up an episode of that, drive down the road, and I got to like pull over to the side of the road to make some notes because there's almost too much good information.
Right. Yeah, I get it, man. And it is, one of the things that this has allowed that really is revolutionary is I don't know where everybody's at, what everybody's paying for technology and what they're paying for coaching and training and all that. Like, there ain't none of that selling this stuff. We ain't selling stuff over here. Like, we're just trying to add value to the enterprise. And that's the cool thing about this platform is we all win together. There's no reason for us to try to make money on selling products and selling coaching or whatever it is. We don't have an agenda other than to add value. And because of that, there's just a ton more access, a ton more available. And, you really, you get the benefits of getting the best of the best advice and information without having to pay for it. So yeah, it's fascinating. So yeah, I mean, you've had a fascinating journey and obviously with the background in technology, you kind of understood, some of the benefits that eXp brought to the table. I think most recently, the COVID-19 was the biggest eye opener for people that this platform was a better way, right? And
yep.
I know I was on a call a few days after March, 2nd or 3rd or whatever, and whenever they shut down the country, and Chris Bear, who's one of the executives in the company, basically said, he's like, it's so crazy. We didn't have one meeting rescheduled. Like, everything in the world shut down and nothing changed here. Like 700 plus employees in corporate and nothing changed. I'm like, man, like the only thing that changed was everybody had their kids at home, and that was weird for a long time. But like the fact that the company continued to operate, you continue to go into the world, find out what's going on with your transactions. You can continue to operate as much as you were allowed to.
And grow. Right. I mean, the growth that we've had since COVID started, everybody else is like in this paralysis mode, talking about doing things, but we truly are just continuing to grow. We're adding agents, we're opening new territories, we're hiring people to take us into international expansion. And to me, that was one of the other things is, I mean, I've done 3 startups before. In real estate, I never felt like, yeah, I could build a team and I could do that stuff, but you get to a certain size and then it becomes a job, honestly.
Right. Yeah, it absolutely is.
And I wanted to find a way to give back, to take what I've learned, to coach, to mentor, to support, and not have to build that model. All I'm really doing is taking what I want to do and putting it on top of the eXp platform that exists.
Yep.
And I think one of the key things is that we're all shareholders. Right? I mean, we are literally shareholders in a NASDAQ publicly traded company.
Yep.
We all have an incentive to help each other out. If they're not, who cares if everybody's in our organization, whether they're in our direct lineage or not, they're part of the company.
Right.
And the willingness for people anywhere inside of like workplace to share stuff, I've been stunned. It's like, hey, let's go on a Zoom call for 15 minutes. I'll help you out with that Facebook ad or whatever it is you're trying to do.
Right. It is. It's first of all, there has to be the platform. The platform had to exist so that we could share, right? Like so that we could share things, and the fact that we're forced into that communication, that way we don't have. You can't just go to the office and have a face-to-face meeting. If you want to get executives on a call, you got to use Workplace or you got to use one of the technology tools that we have available. And so, like, that's the only way we communicate. But the platform had to exist. But then there's this financial alignment. And like you said, the fact that when we help agents, the company does well. When the company does well, we all do well. That little piece of alignment doesn't exist in any other company. I don't care what company you want to tell. You show me a company where I care if this agent over here is producing or doing well or not, and show me by the behavior of the people in the company as to if that's true or not. And the isolation of territories and bricks and mortar has agents that are not going to share their best practices with what they would consider their competition. If it's something that's really good and it's really working, you're not going to learn that in your office.
And I think that's an interesting point you bring up, because I actually chose to go to another brokerage first because I felt like I'd be too isolated inside of eXp.
Right. Yep.
And it's the exact opposite. I have hours of communication with other eXp agents, leaders, management. You know, I had a guy the other day. I brought a new agent on the other day. He calls me up. He's moved to the area. He wants to join eXp. We talked. He's like, hey, how quick can we do this? Because my cousin wants me to write an offer on the house. This is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to send you a video. You watch it. I'll be home in an hour. Called him when I got back. Jumped on a Zoom call with him. We went through. We got him signed up.
Right.
And I said, now watch this. I opened up eXp World while he's watching this on Zoom. Opened up eXp World. We go over to the Florida broker office. We walk in and we go to one of the admin assistants and we explain the situation. We waited a minute for her to wrap up a call. Walk in. He's listening to this whole conversation. She takes us through the whole process. She looks up his license, verifies it. He's legal to write a deal.
Right.
You know, and then he was onboarded the next day, and he just was like, you got to be kidding.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I haven't even gotten a phone call back from the other two brokerages that I left messages for yesterday trying to see, you know, what they would offer as far as coming on board. So it's just been a phenomenal experience so far.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredibly and that's the thing, like you said, you said something earlier I want to make sure that we bring back to the forefront of this, which is if you're like any of us, I think that if you're busy, whatever you're doing is working, you just can't imagine it being anything different than plus or minus 10% of what you've seen before, right? Like that's kind of the assumption is like, it's another company. Okay, this one doesn't have an office. Okay, I pretty much know what it is already. That's kind of the assumption I think people have. And you have to stop and it's for 100% of the people that move to eXp they've taken the time to investigate the opportunity and they know what they're saying yes or no to. And that may be I say an hour of your time invested is the bare minimum to start. Now, after that, you're going to consume a lot more because you're going to want to. But once you have really truly
enter the can't unsee it zone.
Yeah, you get exactly the like, oh my gosh, like, and then the sparks start going. And you start really seeing like, oh my, this is way different than what I've ever seen, and you start getting excited because they've created an opportunity here that you couldn't have created otherwise for yourself or for anyone else. And,
right.
And you know, like that was the thing that I had to get past. I'm my own independent company. I've already paid lots of money to other companies that I didn't get any value for. If it's anything like any of that whatsoever, I'm not interested. But right. That's what I didn't realize was the opportunity at eXp is bigger than what you can create for yourself. And when you create opportunity, it attracts great people. And when great people are in alignment to help you become successful, you're in a much better environment than you could possibly imagine. There's much, much more to it than just that. But that's, that's the what I see now and knowing what I know now. And when I see people finally make the, a year later go, oh, okay, I'm ready. I wish I'd have done it sooner. It's like, man, I wish I could just convince you now while you're watching now, if you're not at eXp, to reach out, have a conversation with David. We'll send you a video you can watch to learn about the model and how we can help you leverage, how you can leverage all of us to grow your business and create, a passive income, get some stock, have an exit strategy. All of these things are just non-existent where you're at. They're just not. And so, like what is that going to be worth to you at the end of your career? Start thinking about the future, not just about your next deal. That's just, you're in business and this is a great business. I love this business of real estate, my 22nd or almost 23rd year, coming up on my 23rd year. And there's no better business in the world. I mean, it's you can spend a few $100s and acquire a $10,000 commission. If you learn how to do sales and marketing, that's the opportunity, and you can do as many of those as you want to do. And so, if you're in real estate and you want to be successful, I believe there's no place better than being here with us at eXp.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm here for life. That's for sure.
Right. No, not going anywhere. That's another common thing you'll find is not people leaving here. Right. And go look around, do your research. There's a handful of people I've seen that maybe joined the company and they didn't, and again, I would say a couple things about that. Like if you're going to do the research, you'll find mostly rabid fans of eXp. They'll also try to bring you into the company because there is an incentive for bringing agents into the company, so you don't expect people to not try to bring you on and bring you into the company if you're asking them questions. But and you find a handful of people that maybe had a bad experience. Not very many, really not. But if you do find that they may have joined 2-3 years ago, it's a completely different company. 2-3 years ago when I joined, there was 5,000 agents. Like we weren't even in all 50 states. the amount, like, from day to day, the amount this company is improving and just in all these areas is just incredible. But there's or the only other example I can think of is somebody who joined and they didn't engage, they didn't get Workplace on their phone as an app and use it. They didn't join the local and state groups. Like, they just didn't plug in. Like, if you don't plug in, you're not going to be successful anywhere. I don't care what it is. But that would be the only things I can think of that would, someone would have a legitimate, not happy experience at eXp. And for all of those people, I'd say come back and join again. I promise you'll have a different experience. And so, yeah, it's pretty great.
I think also the things that like you guys have done for the organization within our own group. We have one of the larger groups in eXp,
right?
And we have we have a lot of things. We have, of course, everything that eXp offers, but then we offer other things on top of that within our group.
Right.
I'm super happy to be.
Right. Let's talk about that for a second, because this is a part that I don't usually talk about it that much, but. Like,
I know what I paid for coaching.
Right.
I mean,
how much? Let's talk about that.
$24,000 a year, and it was worth every penny.
Same here. I spent the same money. Yep. I spent the same money. Yep. And what we were paying for more than anything was that group of people. And not so much what we were getting. It was more of a mastermind. It wasn't like some tailored new content. It was a little bit the very first one. I was in the very first platinum group, but there was a little bit of new stuff. But then, they sell that stuff to everybody before long. So it was really the group, right? Like, we were paying to be a part of an elite group of top people in the industry. And we had a group just like that. Our mastermind group was the same thing. We had a $25,000 a year mastermind group, average person doing $1.5 million in the room, superstars, right? Like, the benefit of being in relationships with those types of people is really hard to put a number on. That's exactly what we have here, only it's even bigger and it's even more abundant, and we're actually all in business together, which, like, that's the best part of it all. Like, being in business together, like, I'm going to answer the phone. Like, people say, you must be so busy, Jay. I answer, there's very few things that get past me. I got too many angles, man. You hit me on Instagram or Messenger or, like, all the different ways people can get to you. I might miss a call every once in a while, but I generally don't miss a phone call or a text ever. Right. And so, like, that's the accessibility factor that, that we're all together, working together. I want to help you. I want to be available to you. And this is the best vehicle for me to do that. But you don't have to spend tons and tons of money to create that environment. Now you become a part of that at eXp, and that abundance, that little thing where you got financial alignment, where everybody wins together, changes behavior. And it's the number one thing Warren Buffett says that he looks at in every company. I was at one of their shareholders events, and it was it was inspiring to see him say it, because I've seen Charlie Munger's 25 biases, and the number one was compensation misalignment. And I saw Warren Buffett go to that. They were talking about Wells Fargo, and he was looking at the somebody said, well, who are you going to use now as a bank, since Wells Fargo's having all these issues with these fake accounts that were getting created? And Warren straight goes, like, just straight went to the principal. Like, it was cool to see, because it was like a full stadium of people, like, bumper to bumper, not an empty chair anywhere. And this guy asked his question, and, like, Warren's put on the spot. I had no idea what he was going to say. And so he's like, man, I'm not worried about that. He said, we have one of our companies is going to do something stupid tomorrow, and I'm going to get a phone call. He's like, that's going to happen. He said, I always looked for the one thing is where was the compensation misalignment? And that's what they needed to fix. And right. So, like, he didn't abandon Wells Fargo. They've been around 130 years. He's like, this is a great company. They have but what I'm looking for is the financial alignment that was misaligned. And that was what drove the behavior. And so, like, when you understand the principle behind that is that compensation drives behavior. When you compensate in a way that's going to make me want to help other people, I'm going to help other people. And that's the way that's the way everyone at eXp looks at every person in the company is, if I can help you do better, I do better. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, whose line you're in, none of that. It just matters that if you're all here at eXp, then I'm going to do better if you do better. And if I help you and you help somebody else, then we're all going to win together. And so it's a small thing when you think about it. It sounds kind of corny even when I'm saying it, but I can tell you this, it's different.
It's different, and it is a huge thing. I mean, when you think about the fact, like, I got into building some content sites because of the fact that it built a passive income, right? So done several startups, come close a couple times, but never had an exit, and so I'm 56. I'm probably not going to go and, go out and build a company and sell it and put $10 million in the bank. But if you look at $1 million at 5% interest, what is that in? Because really, right, it's all about cash flow. It's not about how much is in the bank. And we have a unique opportunity here with the vehicle, with the platform, to build a cash flow system that will allow us to maybe spend more time working with other agents or working with a charity or doing some of the other things that we want to do, because we're not having to grind it out every single day. You know, to do, you know, hey, you're only good as what you did last month.
That was my the best month and the biggest frustration in my real estate career came at a time where I sold 50 homes in 1 month. And it was a rough month. Like, it was a long weekends and long nights kind of month with a lot of problems. And I remember the first rolled around, I was like, shit, I got to do it again. Like, it's not this. I'm on the,
you pushed the bar up to there.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm like, man, like, it sounded like, on the outside, everybody be like, wow, what a month. Yeah. What a month. Like, it was the worst, because I knew that kind of month is what I had to do every month in order to stay ahead. I mean, my overhead was much higher at that stage, and everything else. And when you go into the winter time and it slows down, and you can either make money or lose money, you don't know what's going to be like, all of those pressures of, you build the business. And if you're not properly setting aside the amount of money necessary to get financially free, then, we're going to look up 10 years and you're going to look up another 10 years and you're going to realize that your ladder was up against the wrong wall. And what you want to do is you want to have the best vehicle to get you financially free. And we can make a lot of money selling real estate, but as we get better at selling real estate, we tend to put it back in the business to sell more real estate, not save any of it, because we see there's more opportunity in selling real estate. And so it just is, it's refreshing. I went from having 40 employees to having none. And I went from not being able to engage and spend time with our clients, even though they were paying me, and we had people that did everything, but I managed the people. And now I get to be, on the front lines, helping on calls with our partners and helping agents, which is more fulfilling for me, right? We were talking this morning about like what does eXp stand for? It was a big leadership group in the company, and they were talking about the logo and some of the things that they're working on, improving upon. And it's like, what do we stand for? What do we stand against? And to me, I'm always thinking about this kind of stuff, from my own entrepreneur, journey. But like, it's about growth. It's about, are you the kind of person that wants to grow personally? So it's personal growth. It's business growth. It's growth of others. It's your net worth, growth of your net worth. Like, if you're about growth, then you should be about eXp. That's the kind of agents we attract. We don't attract people that complain all the time. This is an opportunity business, a place where you can come where you have more opportunity than where you have somewhere else. So if you're interested in that, then that's what this is about. And that's the movement that I see happening at eXp.
Yeah, and it's contagious, right? I mean,
absolutely.
It's all about, you had Chuck Fazio on Expert Mentors Live a couple weeks ago. And, and he was talking about like his journey and just the people that we're now surrounded with, on a daily basis.
Right.
It's, you are who you associate with.
Right.
And so we have the top team in the world coming together here, and, we keep trying to reach out and recruit some other top players to come on board. So, anybody who's watching this, any of my friends out there or associates in the business, I really encourage you to, reach out to me. I'll get you some information on it. We can set up a call with Jay and get all your questions answered. And
absolutely. Don't wait. Do it now. Just reach out, send him a message on Messenger, or if you have his number, call him. Or what's the best way for people to get on?
They can reach me either realtor at davidedwards.com, or they can give me a call at 850-598-8982. So what you're saying is I should have listened to Brent Gove 3.5 years ago?
Well, I think you probably would have been happy if you did. Happier, I think. So there's pros and cons to it, right? So I think
the timing wasn't right, but
I think the stock would have been pretty good for you for sure. That would have been, but it's the best time to join was yesterday. The next best time is today. So
right, exactly.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be in business with you. Hopefully, get to make a trip down to your neck of the woods and get to see those beautiful beaches down there.
We'll go out of Destin, the luckiest fishing village on the Gulf. We'll go do some fishing.
I love that idea. I've seen some of the fish you've been catching. That got me pretty excited.
Stuff out there.
Yeah, love it. All right, guys, reach out to David. And once again, welcome and thanks for sharing your story. And it's all about one big fire at eXp. We put all our fires together, make one big fire, help each other grow a big business. And appreciate you. And as we say at eXp, we'll either see you at the top or from the top.
All right.
See ya.
Good one, man. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.